Jai Gurudev, good day. It is a pleasure to speak with you today. We are here to discuss the sacred practice of Bhojnam Vidhi or the eating prayer, a traditional integral, a tradition integral to many Hindu communities, especially after the Upanayam ceremony. Could you please elaborate on the significance of this ritual and why it is so important? Jai Gurudev, and thank you for having me. The practice of Bhojanam Vidhi, also known as the Parishanam, is indeed an essential aspect of our spiritual life, especially for those who have undergone the Upanayam ceremony. This ritual not only represents reverence for the food we consume but also symbolizes the deep connection between the physical and spiritual realms. Eating food is not merely a bodily necessity but an act that connects us with the divine. In Hindu philosophy, food is considered sacred, annam parabrahmam, meaning that food itself is a source of the supreme God. By performing Bhojanam Vidhi, we honor the food, the source of our life, and express gratitude for it. That's beautiful. Could you break down the process of Bhojanam Vidhi and explain the significance of each step involved? Bhojanam Vidhi is traditionally divided into three key parts: Abhojanam, before eating, and Pranabhuti, offering the food to the divine, and Uttara Bhojanam, that is after eating. Each part has its unique significance and I'll walk you through them. Abhojanam, or before eating, before we begin our meal. The first part of the ritual involves preparing ourselves spiritually. This is done through a few steps: sprinkling water around the plate. The person performing the ritual takes water in their right hand and chants the Gayatri mantra, Om Bhurбhuva Swaha, while sprinkling the water around the plate. This symbolizes purifying the space around the food, inviting divine blessings and creating a sacred atmosphere for the meal. Sprinkling water with the mantra Satyam, Tvarthena, and Parishchinichami. This part of the prayer declares that the food we are about to consume is aligned with truth and righteousness. By sprinkling water again, we acknowledge that the food is not just nourishment for the body, but is blessed by higher divine principles. Drinking water with the mantra Amrit Opasthara Namasi. The individual then takes a few drops of water and drinks it while chanting this mantra. Amrit means nectar, symbolizing the divine life force. This mantra essentially asks the divine to bless the food and to make it as nourishing as nectar. The importance of this first step is that it prepares the mind and body for the sacred act of eating, aligning one's consciousness with divinity before the meal begins. Then the Pranabhuti, offering the food to God. Once the meal has been prepared and the space purified, the next step is a Pranabhuti, where we offer a small portion of the food to the divine, symbolizing our gratitude and surrender. This step is a reminder that food is a divine gift. The offering, a small portion of cooked rice mixed with ghee, is taken in the fingers using the thumb, middle, and ring fingers, considered auspicious, and offered to God without chewing it. This represents a pure act of offering, untainted by our desires. Then the mantras for offering. We recite 6 important mantras corresponding to the 5 vital breaths: prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. And the 6th mantra is devoted to the connection with Brahman, the supreme consciousness. These mantras acknowledge the role that each of these life-giving forces play in our existence. For life force or prana, we have Om Pranaye Swahaya, Swaha. For excretory process, we have Om Apanaya Swaha. For circulatory process, we have Om Vyanaya Swaha. For respiratory process, we have Om Udanaya Swaha. For digestive process, we have Om Samanaya Swaha. For connecting with the divine immortality, we have Om Brahmane Swaha. By offering the food to these elements, we are essentially nourishing not just the body, but the soul and mind as well. Then the Uttara Bhojanam, that is after eating. The final part of Bhojanam Vidhi occurs after the meal to complete the cycle of sacred consumption, drinking water and circumambulating the plate. After finishing the meal, the individual again takes water and drinks half of it while sprinkling the remaining water around the plate. This is done with the mantra Amrita Opasthara Namasi, again signifying the food's connection to immortality. It expresses our gratitude for the nourishment we have received and serves as a final acknowledgement of the divine forces at play. then the thanksgiving to God. This part of the ritual serves as a final thanksgiving. Recognizing the food as a source of vitality and life, it is a way of acknowledging the divine for sustaining us and wishing for continued health and strength. This practice truly elevates the act of eating to a spiritual experience. How does this ritual impact daily life, especially for those who observe it regularly? The impact is profound. It transforms the simple act of eating into a mindful, sacred activity. It fosters an attitude of gratitude and humility towards food, which is often taken for granted in daily life. By performing Bhojnam Vidhi, individuals reconnect with the divine source of all nourishment and recognize the interconnectedness of life. For those who have undergone Upanayam, which is a rite or passage that initiates one into the study of sacred knowledge, this practice reinforces their responsibility to live with righteousness and mindfulness. It is not just a ritual, it becomes a daily reminder of the deeper purpose of life, encouraging respect for food, the body, and the universe. It's incredible to hear how a simple daily act like eating can carry so much spiritual depth. Is there anything else you would like to add about Bhojanam Vidhi or its significance? I would say that Bhojanam Vidhi is more than just a ritual. It is an invitation to elevate every aspect of our lives, even the most mundane, to the level of the divine. It teaches us to be conscious of what we consume, how we consume it, and the gratitude we express in that process. It instills respect for life, nature, and the divine energies that sustain us. By practicing it with sincerity, one can truly feel the spiritual benefits and be connected to a greater purpose. Thank you for such an enlightening conversation. It is clear that Bhojanam Vidhi is much more than a ritual. It's a way of life that fosters deep spiritual awareness and connection to the divine. Thank you. It was a pleasure to share this with you. May all who practice it find nourishment, not only for the body, but for the soul as well. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, thank you again for your insights. In continuing our discussion, could you share more about how Bhojanam Vidhi aligns with the teachings of His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji and the broader spiritual philosophy promoted by the Art of Living? Jai Gurudev, absolutely. His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji has always emphasized mindfulness, gratitude, and the sanctity of everyday actions. In the Art of Living tradition, every moment is an opportunity to connect with the divine, and rituals like Bhojanam Vidhi are one of the many practices that help individuals deepen this connection. Gurudev often speaks about the importance of elevating our consciousness, even in the simplest acts. Bhojanam Vidhi aligns perfectly with this philosophy. By chanting mantras and performing rituals before, during, and after eating, we remind ourselves that every bite of food is not just a physical act, but a spiritual experience. The practice encourages gratitude for the food, the divine, and the abundance of life that we are blessed with. The Gayatri mantra that is recited during the Abhojanam phase, for instance, is a universal prayer for wisdom, illumination, and harmony. When we chant this mantra while preparing ourselves to eat, it serves as a reminder that we are not just nourishing the body, but also the mind and spirit, aligning us with the higher energies of the universe. That's a very profound connection. From what you have shared, it seems that Bhojanam Vidhi has both personal and collective significance. Can you speak about the role of this ritual in community settings, especially within large gatherings or public spaces where it is practiced? Yes, Bhojanam Vidhi plays a crucial role in fostering a sense of community and shared spirituality, especially in gatherings such as festivals, religious events, or community rituals in southern India. For example, it's quite common to see people performing the Parishchanam ritual even in public spaces like temples or during large forests. It is called a Parishchanam. The beauty of Bhojanam Vidhi in these contexts is that it brings people together in shared reverence for food and life. For everyone, regardless of their social standing or background, partakes in the same ritual, recognizing food as a universal blessing. When individuals perform the ritual together, chanting mantras, sprinkling water, offering the food to the divine, it creates a collective sense of gratitude and mindfulness. This unity, grounded in spiritual awareness, can have a profound impact on the community, not just by fostering togetherness, but also by reinforcing the value of respect for the food, the divine, and one another. In fact, many temples, especially during festivals like Pongal or Navratri, have rituals where the community members sit together and perform Bhojanam Vidhi before sharing the meal. It is a collective acknowledgement of food as a divine gift, and it helps transform the meal into a spiritual communion, transcending ordinary dining into an act of devotion. It's truly beautiful how this practice builds community and connects individuals to the sacred. In a more practical sense, can you talk about how the physical act of Bhojanam Vidhi also influences the individual's well being, both mentally and physically? The physical acts involved in Bhojanam Vidhi are not just symbolic, they also have a real impact on one's health and well being. For example, the practice of sprinkling water around the food is not just a ritual gesture, it has a grounding effect. Water has always been considered a purifier in Hindu traditions, and by sprinkling it around the food, we not only cleanse the environment but also clear our minds, making us more receptive to the food's nourishment. The act of drinking water before and after the meal is also significant. In the rituals, the water is consumed mindfully, which is a practice in hydration and self awareness. It helps the person focus on their inner state, bringing them into the present moment, and also supports proper digestion by stimulating the body's natural processes. Moreover, the act of offering food to the divine before eating, especially in the form of a prana ahuti, engages the participant in deep reflection about the true nature of food and life. This mindful approach can reduce stress, promote mental clarity, and help the person stay grounded throughout the day. This is in line with what Gurudev often teaches about the importance of mindfulness in every action we take, whether it is eating, working, or even breathing. In fact, practicing Bhojanam Vidhi can lead to better digestion and overall physical health as it encourages slower, more conscious eating. By avoiding rushing through meals, the ritual allows time for the body to properly process the food and absorb its nutrients. It sounds like Bhojanam Vidhi isn't just a spiritual practice, but a holistic approach to living, a way to nurture both the body and the mind in this fast-paced world. Do you think this practice can have a broader relevance in today's society, particularly in urban environments? Absolutely. In today's fast-paced world, urban lifestyle, many of us tend to rush through meals, often eating mindlessly or under stress. Bhojanam Vidhi offers a solution to this modern dilemma by encouraging mindfulness in one of the most fundamental acts of daily life, that is, eating. The practice is highly relevant for urban environments where people are often disconnected from the traditional rhythms of life and the deeper values of food. By introducing the ritual of Bhojanam Vidhi into daily living, people can create a sacred space even in busy environment where they pause, reflect, and reconnect with their higher selves. This mindful approach to eating fosters a sense of balance and peace amidst the hustle and bustle. Moreover, the essence of Bhojanam Vidhi, gratitude, respect, and mindfulness, can also help combat the stress, anxiety, and disconnection that are so common in urban life. It is not just about slowing down the eating process, but also cultivating a broader sense of appreciation for the life we have, the food we consume, and the universe that sustains us. In fact, several people have started practicing Bhojanam Vidhi in their homes, even in cities, as part of their daily routine, experiencing better mental clarity, increased gratitude, and a more harmonious relationship with food. It's becoming a small yet powerful antidote into the overwhelming speed and disconnection of modern life. It seems like this practice could truly be transformative for many. Finally, as we close, what would you say to someone interested in starting this practice, especially those who may not be familiar with it but are intrigued by its spiritual depth? I would say start small and approach it with an open heart. Bhojanam Vidhi isn't just about reciting mantras or following a ritual. It's about developing a deeper sense of connection with the food you eat, the divine, and your own self. If you are new to it, begin by simply reciting the Gayatri Mantra before eating and gradually incorporate the water sprinkling and other elements. The key is to practice with sincerity and mindfulness. Even if you don't understand every mantra initially, the act of reverently offering food to the divine will help you cultivate a sense of gratitude not just for the food, but for everything in life. Over time, you will experience a shift not only in how you view food, but also in how you approach life. Remember, the essence of Bhojanam Vidhi is mindfulness, humility, and gratitude. When you bring those qualities into your life, the ritual becomes much more than just a formality. It becomes a living experience of connecting with the divine in every meal. Thank you so much for your valuable insights today. It is clear that Bhojanam Vidhi, under the guidance of His Holiness Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Ji and the Art of Living tradition, is not only a sacred practice but a path toward holistic living. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, it's been truly enlightening to hear about Bhojanam Vidhi's spiritual and physical benefits. I would like to dive a bit deeper into the cultural and philosophical underpinnings of this practice, many of us are familiar with the term prana or life force. But how does this concept specifically tie into the Bhojnam Vidhi? Jai Gurudev, that's an excellent question. The concept of prana, the vital life force that permeates all living beings, is central to many spiritual practices, particularly in Vedic traditions. In Bhojnam Vidhi, prana is directly related to our breath, which is why the mantras we recite during prana ahuti, offering food to the divine, are so significant. When we offer food to prana, we are symbolically offering it to the very force that sustains the life. Each of the 6 prana ahuti mantras corresponds to a specific breath or function in the body that is responsible for vital processes like digestion, circulation, excretion, and respiration. For instance, the mantra Om Pranaya Swaha acknowledges the primary life force that sustains life. The mantra Om Apanaya Swaha honors the breath that governs elimination and detoxification. Similarly, the remaining mantras honor the other vital forces responsible for bodily functions such as circulation, digestion, and respiration. When we offer the food in this way, we are acknowledging that food itself is a conduit for prana, a divine energy. This understanding helps elevate the act of eating beyond the physical level and transforms it into a conscious offering to the universe. So when we consume the food, we are not merely satisfying hunger, we are nourishing our entire being, body, mind, and spirit with divine energy. In modern terms, we could say that Bhojnam Vidhi is about consciously infusing the body with positive energy, setting the intention that the food is not just for sustenance, but for spiritual and mental clarity, health, and vitality. I can see how this deep understanding of prana elevates the practice. Now, there is another important concept you mentioned earlier, gratitude. Could you elaborate on how Bhojnam Vidhi fosters a sense of gratitude, not just for food, but for life itself? Gratitude is at the heart of Bhojnam Vidhi. In every step of the ritual, the practitioner is invited to pause and reflect on the profound gift that food represents. When we begin with the prayer, Satyam Tvarthena Parishchina Chami, for example, we acknowledge the righteousness and truth in the food, considering it not just as a physical substance, but as something divine bestowed upon us by the universe. By doing this, we cultivate a sense of appreciation for the food that nourishes us, both physically and spiritually. But the gratitude extends beyond just the food itself. Through the ritual, we express our thanks to the natural elements, earth, water, air, and fire, that have contributed to the creation of the meal. In essence, when we say thank you to the food, we are also acknowledging the interconnectedness of life and the cycles of nature. It is a profound recognition that we are sustained by forces greater than ourselves, by the natural world, by divine grace, and by the people who grow, prepare, and serve the food. Moreover, as a pranahuti portion of the ritual involves offering food to the divine forces within us, it becomes an act of acknowledging the grace we have received simply by being alive. This act of thanksgiving isn't confined to food alone. It spills over into all aspects of life, helping us recognizing the countless blessings we receive each day, our health, our relationships, our work, and our spiritual journey. In today's fast-paced world, where many are consumed by stress or the constant need for more, this practice offers an opportunity to slow down and reflect on the abundance in our lives. It nurtures a sense of humility and appreciation, transforming a mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. When we realize that everything we have is a gift, our entire approach to life shifts. That's beautifully put. It seems that Bhojnam Vidhi isn't just about respect for food, but a deeper universal respect for all of life's blessings. Now, you mentioned earlier that this practice is especially significant for those who have undergone the Upanayam ceremony. Could you elaborate on how Bhojnam Vidhi ties into the Upanayam tradition and the responsibility it bestows? Yes, the Upanayam ceremony is a pivotal rite for passage in Hindu tradition, often referred to as the sacred third ceremony. It marks the initiation of a young individual into formal education and spiritual practices. Those who undergo this ceremony, especially males in Brahmin and Vaishnava communities, are given the sacred thread or the Yajnopavita, which signifies a commitment to live a life of dharma, righteousness, duty, and spiritual learning. After Upanayam, the individual is expected to adhere to higher standards of living and discipline. One of the key responsibilities bestowed upon them is the practice of daily rituals, which include Bhojnam Vidhi. This ritual serves as a reminder that they are no longer just individuals seeking personal satisfaction but are part of a larger cosmic order. The sacred thread symbolizes their commitment to divine knowledge, and part of that commitment is being conscious of what they eat, how they eat, and the divine essence in everything around them, including food. Bhojanam Vidhi then is not only about consuming food, it is about acknowledging that as individuals who have been initiated into a higher spiritual responsibility, we must act with reverence toward the basic act of eating. The ritual is also a teaching tool, guiding the practitioner to be mindful and grateful in all aspects of life. It encourages self discipline, respect for the natural world, and a deep awareness of the divine forces that govern our existence. In this way, Bhojanam Vidhi becomes a powerful tool for personal transformation. It helps those who have undergone Upanayam to continually cultivate purity of thought, word, and action. It is a daily practice that reconnects them to their spiritual roots and reminds them of their responsibility to uphold Dharma and serve humanity. It is fascinating how the ritual ties so deeply into the broader context of spiritual discipline and personal growth. Now, in light of the increasing interest in mindfulness and spiritual practices in the modern world, do you think there is a growing interest in Bhojanam Vidhi, especially among those who may not follow the traditional Vedic practices? Absolutely. In recent years, there has been a growing interest in mindfulness practices, and many people, regardless of their cultural or religious background, are discovering the profound benefits of rituals like Bhojanam Vidhi. Even those who may not follow the traditional Vedic paths are realizing the power of mindfulness and gratitude, which are at the core of Bhojanam Vidhi. In the West and even in urban centers across the world, people are increasingly turning to practices that promote conscious eating, mindfulness, and respect for food. This trend is not just about eating with awareness, but also about adopting a holistic approach to living, recognizing that every act, no matter how mundane, can be a spiritual practice. Bhojanam Vidhi offers a personal and perfect model for this, as it transforms eating from a mindless activity into a conscious sacred ritual. Moreover, with the rise of health consciousness and plant-based eating, people are more aware of the environmental and ethical implications of their food choices. The deeper connection to food that Bhojanam Vidhi promotes aligns with these global movements, which are about treating food with reverence, respecting the environment, and considering the broader impact of our choices. It is heartening to see that more people are beginning to embrace these timeless practices in their daily lives, not only for spiritual enrichment, but also for their mental and physical well-being. It seems that Bhojanam Vidhi is not just a cultural or spiritual tradition, but also a practice that is deeply relevant to modern day concerns about mindfulness, sustainability, and personal well-being. Exactly, Bhojanam Vidhi serves as a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern day living. It's a reminder that despite the fast-paced world we live in, there is always an opportunity to reconnect with the divine, to slow down, and to honor the simple acts that sustain us. By incorporating rituals like Bhojanam Vidhi into daily life, we cultivate a deeper sense of peace, respect, and connection to everything around us. Thank you so much for continuing this enlightening conversation. It is clear that Bhojanam Vidhi, under the guide of spiritual leaders like His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji, holds great transformative potential not just for individuals but for society at large. Thank you, Jai Gurudev. It's been a pleasure to share the importance of this practice. I sincerely hope that more and more people can experience the profound benefits of Bhojanam Vidhi in their lives. May we all continue to eat with mindfulness, gratitude, and reverence, and may it lead us to the greatest spiritual fulfillment and peace. Jai Gurudev.